All right, so in this module, we're going to go ahead and start diving into how to set up our lookalike audiences. Now, if you saw in the previous video, we went and created all of our lookalike audiences from different metrics like people who've added things to cart, people who have purchased things, people who initiated checkout, or people that have, viewed 95% of the video. And we made lookalike audiences based off of all of these, habits that have happened on our website or with our brand. So now it's time to start advertising to those new audiences that we created. So in order to do that, we're going to dive right back into the ads manager. And as you see here, I'm in an account that already has a few lookalike audiences set up and running and testing right now. Don't really pay attention to the metrics right now because this isn't really, built for this product per se right now. This is a different product on a different ads manager. I'm just showing you that I have lookalike audiences running right now and the method or strategy that I'm going to teach. So I figured it'd be best for me to show you, in a live ads manager right now in the updated, 2020 to 2021 timeframe that we're talking about. So let's dive right in. We're in the ads manager. As you see, we have initiate checkout LLA created lookalike audience. So, we have the add to cart lookalike audience, we have the purchase lookalike audience, and then we have duplicates of those audiences also. These are all campaigns running with a retargeting ABO campaign, ABO ad set budget optimization. So I'll dive right into, all of them are going to be set up primarily the same, if not similar to the cold testing strategy when we were just finding out what audiences work best for our product. So just like the first video, we're going to start out with 5 to 10 ad sets. We're honestly going to start off with 5 just for the sake of the, the strategy. So I'm going to dive into this campaign here. And as you see on this campaign, I have, I turned off these 2, but I have 5 ad sets running, or that we're running, and each one is a percentage of the lookalike audience. So we have 1%, we have 3%, 5%, 7%, and 10%. Now these are all of the lookalike audiences that we made based off of the initiate checkout sequence, and then we're separating them by 5. So they all have their own individual ad sets, so we know which sale came from which percentage, right? So I'm just going to edit this so you can see the layout of it. The entire layout is exactly the same as our cold testing strategy. We're actually going to duplicate those ad sets, or if you want to start from fresh, you can also, but it's the same thing as far as, the budget's at $5 a day, and then we just add the custom audience here. So we have the lookalike here. So we have the lookalike of 1% of the pixel that we selected using initiate checkout. So that's our value-based lookalike audience there. I have this unchecked here to reach people beyond the lookalikes. I don't check that because that will go outside of what we're looking to do. And then I keep the same countries that we were targeting before. I keep the same age, 18 to 65, very broad. Let Facebook decide what to do with the money. And also all genders, so both genders. And I usually add in the English language just so I filter out all the people who don't understand what the ad is actually saying. So English is really important to also add there. Detailed targeting is off. I don't include any interests or any behaviors like that. So that's blank. So we're just targeting the lookalike audience here, that 1% in this ad set. And then as you see, we have the other ad sets there that are for 3%, 5%, 7%, and 10%. And then we're just going to let them run at $5 each a day. All automatic placements, automatic placements, no optimization. You don't have to edit anything like that. We have our ads attached to that 1%, all the ads that are working for you, and then you're just gonna let them run. You're gonna let them run for 3 days, the same type of strategy that we were talking about before with the cold testing. So you let them run for 3 days. As they're running for 3 days, you're gonna monitor what ad sets are bringing in what sales, or what analytics are we getting from that. Are we getting a good cost per click? Are we getting good click-through rate percentages? Are we getting cheap CPMs? Are we getting, things like that? So you just want to keep doing this with every type of lookalike audience that you've created. So you want to create this is, purely initiate checkout from 1 to 10%, splitting it up, evenly. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and then 10. And then you let those run, and what the whole goal is to do is to have multiple campaigns running. So as you see here, we have the initiate checkout campaign running, the add to cart campaign running, the purchase campaign running, and these are all campaigns that were running at $5 a day per ad set. Again, like this is like testing the lookalike audiences. So right now we're testing to see which lookalike audiences are going to actually perform the best for our our product, for our ads. So once we have 5 winning audiences from either 3 of those or 4, whatever you decide to test, if you decide to test as many lookalike audiences as you want, you want to choose 5 of those winning ad sets. So if I go ahead and select all of these campaigns except for the retargeting campaigns, we're going to leave those out for right now. So all of the lookalike campaigns that are running, we're going to select them all on the campaigns here, and we're going to hop over into the ad sets column or tab, and then you'll be able to see all of the active ad sets for those campaigns. And then you'll be able to filter them by like cost per result here. So you see I can filter them by cost per result. And then you'll see I'll have my top ad sets at the top here. So we got $7 per purchase, $11 per purchase, $18 per purchase, $18 per purchase. But they all have a return on ad spend above 3. You see here, these top 5 all have a return on ad spend above 3. So what I'm going to do after I've let those tested and ran on an ABO, and the campaigns, I'm going to select those top 5. I'm going to select those top 5 audience ad sets here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to duplicate those 5 ad sets into a new campaign. So I have the 5 winning audiences or 5 winning ad sets that have been running for more than 3 or 4 days, bringing us in more than 3 or 4 sales and giving us a ROAS of above 3. So we're going to go ahead, take those top 5, ad sets, make a new campaign here. We're going to call this campaign the top 5 campaign. It's going to be a top 5 CBO. And remember, CBO stands for campaign budget optimization, meaning that we set the value at the campaign level instead of the ad set level. That way, we're letting Facebook decide, all right, here's $100 for the budget. I want you to spread it amongst these, ad sets. So go ahead, you decide where you put the money instead of us deciding that we want $5 a day to go to this ad set, $5 a day to go to that ad set. So instead of us choosing exactly how much each ad set is going to receive daily and spend, we're leaving it up to Facebook with the CBO. So we're giving Facebook a handful of ad sets, we're giving it a budget, and then telling it, hey, go ahead, spend as much money on whatever ad set you need in order to be very profitable, right? So that's what we're going to be doing, and that's the first part of scaling your lookalike audiences. So we want to take those 5 winning lookalike audiences, duplicate them into a new campaign, one new campaign like we are doing right now. We'll name it Top 5 CBO. We're going to click duplicate, and now it's going to create a whole new campaign with those 5 winning ad sets and ads already built in and inside that campaign. So you see, I'll click over to the campaigns tab. You see we got the top 5 here now. It's in the draft. We're going to click into the top 5, and then you'll see we got the top 5 audiences right here. And instead of them, they all have a budget here. So we're going to go back to the campaigns tab, and we're going to click on edit. You're going to scroll down where it says campaign budget optimization, and you're going to turn that on. And then we're going to set the budget to $100 for a day or per day. So we're going to let this run for 3 days at $100 per day. So you need to make sure you have $300 ready to spend just for this campaign alone. And then it's going to spend it all on those 5 winning ad sets that we already know have brought in multiple sales. They're already proven to be very profitable for us. So we're going to go ahead and keep investing in these audiences. So we're creating a CBO of $100 a day to spend on those 5 ad sets. And then when I go inside those ad sets, I have them all selected here. I like to make them all start at the same time. So I select it for the next day like we did on our cold testing ads also. So today's the 14th. I'm going to select the 15th. And instead of 12 p.m., I want them to start at 12 a.m. on the 15th. So midnight on the 15th, they'll be starting and they'll run, and they'll let them run for 3 days. So we'll come back on the 18th and see the progress of those lookalike audiences and see, how we could either turn off the ad sets that are performing the worst, or if everything's performing well, we can go ahead and increase the budget of the CBO by $50. So that's the whole plan, is to keep increasing your CBO budgets every 3 or 4 days by either, 50% of what you were already spending. So if we were spending $100 a day and is doing well at $100 a day for 3 days, we're going to increase it by 50%, which is $50. So we'll increase it by $50 every 3 or 4 days. So if it does really well at 150 for the 3 or 4 days after that, then we go ahead and increase it again by 75 or whatever it is you want to increase by. But I really suggest not going above that 50% threshold, because once you increase your budget past that 50%, it starts to get spotty, it starts to waste your money where it doesn't need to go, and it ends up being a loss for you in the long run. So if you gradually scale, that's the most important part, is gradually giving Facebook the opportunity to optimize every time you increase the budget by a certain amount, and not giving it too much to work with, but a little more to work with, so it can learn over time how to disperse your budget appropriately. And that's pretty much it. So, we got our 5 ad sets, we got the time set that we want them running at, the age, everything is set up exactly the way we want it to be. And all we're going to do now is we're going to click review and publish. And you're going to go ahead and publish your new CBO. So now we're scaling. Now we're going and raising the budget $100 in 1 day, just by taking the 5 winning ad sets that have already proven to be winners for us. So we should expect to see a decent return when we're increasing budget on ads that are already working, right? So we're going to keep an eye on everything, make sure everything's looking nice and clean. If you see metrics that are going outside of the metrics that we mentioned in the first, scaling video, where, setting up the ads and everything like that, where if we have a cost per click over $1, if you have, click-through rates under 1%, or you have really bad metrics that are not really hitting it for you, I suggest just turning off the campaign or turning off that ad set and either relaunching the campaign on the next day to see how it performs again, just like as a restart, or possibly you're getting info that your ads are not performing as good as they should perform, so you might need to introduce new content into your ads or stuff like that, because again, these ads are not, they don't last a lifetime, so they have a lifespan. So these ads they'll die eventually, and it's okay, but we need to know when to cut it, when they die, and we also need to know when to start the new ones and how to scale them appropriately so that we manage the spend in it, and we don't have drastic, like spending $300 this day and then we cut it back to $50 the next day, and then the next day is $200 in spend. So it's not very consistent. So we want to make sure it's clean, consistent. Whenever we're managing the amount of spending, we don't want big gaps in days. Stuff like that will ruin your consistency of the pixel, and the progress that it has to learn. So I hope that helps and clears up the scaling method on lookalike audiences. Again, the main lookalike audiences you want to reach out to are the add to cart, initiate checkout, and the purchases. And I'll also throw in the 95% video viewers in there, because those are all really key. Hell, you can even throw in 75% video viewers. That will also probably give you some good metrics as far as lookalike audiences go. So I hope that clears up setting up the lookalike audiences. Again, you just want to keep repeating, rinse and repeat. So you want to just keep running the ABO. So you keep running lookalike audiences at the ABO of $5 a day, and you let them run for 3-4 days. You find out which winners are from those ABOs, and then you take the top 5 of those ABOs, ad set budget. You take the top 5 performing ones and you duplicate them into one CBO that's going to have a higher budget of at least a minimum of $100 a day. If you don't have $100 a day to throw in a CBO right away, I recommend maybe starting with $50 on the CBO. That will also work for you if you're just trying to start out slowly. $50 on the CBO with the top 5 might work also. Just remember, it's going to take a little longer for it to optimize. So instead of giving it that 3 days, now we want to maybe give it that 4 or 5 6 days in order to get optimized right. So that's what I recommend. I hope it clears up lookalike audiences for you. It's really, a simple process once you rinse and repeat. And then the whole goal is to keep increasing the budget of your working CBOs every 3 to 4 days by around 50% of what you were spending the day before, or, the few days before. So again, that's lookalike audiences for you, and enjoy.